But now add to that, because I talk about humor as an attribute in the first book and how powerful humor is in the equation. One of the reasons why, by the way, humor is so powerful is that when we laugh, we get juiced with 3 chemicals, neurotransmitters. First is dopamine. We've talked about dopamine. Second is endorphins, which mask our pain. And then third is oxytocin. It's bonding chemical, right? And so when we laugh, whether we like it or not, we get juiced with this stuff. So I always when I'm talking, I give the story of being in surf conditioning. Yep. And the instructor driving the van up onto the beach and getting out of the van and saying, hey, I have blankets and hot chocolate and donuts for anybody who quits right now, because it always happens, right?
Yeah.
I remember them.
And I want to be clear, as an instructor who augmented Hell Week, we would take our time and set up the table so they could see the steam coming out of it.
Well, here's what happened to me.
Because you need them to hear it, but also I want you to see it.
That's right, yeah. So here's what happened to me. This is a true story, right? We're in surf torture. And
conditioning.
Conditioning, yeah. Get the verbiage right.
Again, exact same activity. So
a little bit more for the senators, it's better. Yeah. We're in there, and the instructor makes that offer, right? Yeah. The guy on my right side, he's on my right arm, immediately yells back at the instructor, says, hey, do you have any chocolate glazed donuts? Because if you don't, I'm not quitting, okay? And he burst out laughing, and I burst out laughing, and suddenly I felt better, okay? Yeah. I looked to my left, the guy on my left. The guy on my left's not laughing at all. He's lost in his pain. I don't even think he heard the joke. Yeah. I was like, oh boy, this guy's not going to make it, right? 30 seconds or so, he quits. What happens there is when we laugh, right, we immediately, dopamine says, this is good, keep doing this. Endorphins mask our pain. They make us feel better. And oxytocin tells us we're in this together. So I'm miserable. The guy makes his, the instructor, thank you, instructor, makes his offer. My buddy cracks his joke, right? Suddenly I laugh. My body says, this is good. Keep doing this. This doesn't feel that bad. We're in this together. How many times can you remember in SEAL training, in combat, whatever we were, the shit would be like absolutely atrocious, and some dude would crack a joke and we'd be laughing. I mean, it is and by the way, it's a hack into courage, because when we step into our fear, this is also neuroscience, right? When we choose the fight response, i.e. step into our fear, we get a dopamine reward. When we laugh, we get a dopamine reward. So anytime you've been in a situation where you're afraid or anxious or something, and someone genuinely makes you laugh, the fear goes away. Because you've just hacked into what you get when you step into your fear. Yeah. It's why it's so freaking important in any high-performing team. And it's people say, do I miss the teams? Like, you know what? I don't miss the teams because, if I were standing, all my friends are admirals, and you don't do SEAL stuff at that point anyway. And you also age out of to be able to climb sides of ships and do all that stuff. So I don't miss that aspect. What I do miss are those times where we were laughing our asses off when shit was just so miserable. Someone would crack a joke, usually highly inappropriate, and we would just be crying. We'd be crying. Amazing.
I can give you a great example. So Team 5, pre-9/11, we're up at Kodiak, Alaska doing cold weather training. And of course, what better to do in Kodiak than an OTH?
Yes.
Which is an over-the-horizon Zodiac. I mean, literally, like, let's just drive out into the ocean till you can't see the land.
Going around ice fields, by the way.
Then we'll turn around, come back in, we'll launch swimmer scouts onto the beach.
Lovely.
And then everybody will swim across. We'll do an OTB. So if you can do an OTH, you might as well do an OTB, which is an over to the beach. We had gone up. We were messing with our AOIC. We had found a mannequin, and we buried an axe in its head because we were going to basically pretend that we found a dead body. Everybody was in on it except for him.
This is when you got over the beach.
We had it already pre-staged.
Nice.
First off, I don't know how the hell we found a mannequin, where we got the axe.
Creativity. That's right.
Whose idea it was to stuff it where we knew we were going to. Yeah. I think we actually talked to the cadre. We're like, hey.
We'd like to do this.
Can we get the grid on the OTB? Because we want to make sure.
And of course they're like, yes, because they're team
100%.
guys.
100%. Yeah. And they were also there watching. The only person that didn't know is the AOIC.
Was he of a demeanor that you knew he'd kind of freak out? Was that why you targeted him? Or
I think we were just testing him.
Okay,
we needed to determine said demeanor.
Yeah, sure.
So the water in Kodiak is cold. Yeah. I was one of the swimmer scouts, so I went up there in classic red light, flashlight. Yeah. Everybody comes in. You're freezing ass cold. The SEALs aren't great on dry suits. Some people take pisses, forget to zip them back up. Yeah. That's a journey of discovery in and of itself.
Yep.
You're freezing your ass off. You're stripping out of this stuff, getting ready to move. And I forget how we triggered it, but essentially someone's like, "Oh shit, sir, get over here and check this out." He lost his shit.
Oh my God, that's so good.
So good. And so he's like trying to get what the fuck do we do? And first he was nerded out. He didn't want to get close to it. He's like, I think we found a dead body. And the worse it got, I am in fucking
Stitches.
tears.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning of like a 3-day OTB.
Yeah. I'm sure the instructors were all, they're just like, they were like, oh my God, I hope he calls it in.
It was some of our best work. I can't take responsibility for all of it.
Some of our best work, and we got Bin Laden.
Dude.
So.
Dude. I mean, you're freezing your ass off. It was the beginning. Some people were legitimately in wet stuff because either their dry bag failed in their rucksack. So they're getting out of a freezing suit into basically frozen camis. We're going to be going and patrolling for 3 days to nowhere. I think we probably had rubber weapons, to be honest, just to keep the salt water off them. Yeah. And that's how we started it. Yeah. Fuck, that was 20 plus years ago. And I still remember, I mean, I was combat ineffective for 20 minutes. Just fucking
dying.
He was so pissed.
That's even funnier, by the way, because of the teams in any of these environments. If you get pissed when someone pranks you, that is game over because you're just going to get pranked more and more. That's the idea. Shaw's. We were at Shaw's doing
the old Mid-South Institute.
We were with Red Squadron doing some training there, and one of the guys, I'll have to tell you his name later, but he was a very serious dude, and one of our other guys. Same guy I was talking about who I have coffee with, huge dude. He decided to do a what's called a low tide in his hotel room. So for the audience, that is not to be crass, but it's going in, it's stealing the key, going to the hotel room, taking a dump in the tub, and then filling the tub with about a half inch of water, and then turning up the heat.
Michael's taking notes right now.
That's called a low tide.
Low
right?
tide.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
So this guy gets a low tide. Okay, next morning, we're all because we're mustering just to get the word for the day, and he's like, "Hey, I have an announcement to make. Someone did this. I want to know who it is. This is not funny. Blah blah blah. Things like that." Fucking next day, another low tide. He comes in the following day. He's like, "Guys, I'm sorry. White flag. I'm done. This is funny. It's so good to go. I apologize for freaking out." He knew it was a lesson for him, right? Yeah. You can't take it seriously. As soon as someone takes it seriously.
It's like a nickname.
Yeah.
If you have a pizza-sized button on your chest.
Yes.
And they laugh at it, you're like, okay, that's not right. If you see him like wince a little bit, or you can tell, like, that is your name for the end of time.
Yeah.